my win. Also, development guide. So we have a monthly development guide that is going to accelerate us spiritually. And this month is specifically on daily time with God. How many of us know that it is so important to spend daily time with God, right? Not out of this religious ritual that we check off our list of like, woo, we're good Christians. But it's spending time with God as a father, as a friend, because guess what? There's so many areas of our lives that we need answers in. And he's saying, hey, listen, if you spend some time with me, you'll find the answer, right? His yoke is easy, his burden is light, and he always says, come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest. And so I encourage you guys, go to the development guide. You can find it at myvfc.info. We actually have a PDF document on there with a bunch of confessionals that you can literally wake up in the morning, and we've already given it to you, and you can basically speak out of your mouth basically what God says about you and what God says that you have. And again, we're not doing it out of a religious ritual to check off our list, but we're doing it because we believe it, and we know that our God conquered it all. Amen, church? All right, like I said, we structured our pre-service a little bit different. So every pre-service, we are coming with one announcement. Anybody happy about that? One announcement, quick and done. So our first announcement is basically we got inflatables this weekend. So right outside, maybe you drove past it or not, we have our big inflatables. I know our students love this every single week that we have it. And so for that, we want to make sure that our students are safe, right? We don't want anyone to get hurt. We don't want anyone to get injured. So we want to make sure that we do all that we can to make sure that we're supervising it and that we're leading our students. And so with that being said, I actually need 3 volunteers who would be able to help outside with making sure that our students are being safe. And directly after pre-service, you're going to talk with our lovely intern, Aubriana Moyer, just with details of just certain things of like, hey, no earrings, no doing flips, that kind of a thing, just making sure students are safe. So I have 3 volunteers. 3 volunteers. All right, Tanya, Sherry, Tammy. Okay, awesome, guys. Thank you so much for stepping up to the plate. So yeah, again, go to Aubriana right after service, and she'll be able to get you connected on just all of the rules, all of the safety precautions that we're going to take, because, again, we love our students. We never want them to get injured, break a leg, break an arm, break a neck, right? We want to make sure that they're safe. So that's what's happening. Also, there's going to be donuts in the cafe after service, and so I had walked past there, and I was like, I smell Dunkin' Donuts. Well, they're right over there in the back cafe, so I'm going to be snagging one as well because Dunkin' Donuts is really good. With that being said, I'm going to throw it directly over to the lovely Caitlin Walter. If you don't know, Caitlin Walter is one of our team leaders for our Sunday girls small groups. She always leads so well, and it's such a privilege to lead with her. So give it up for Caitlin.
This is weird for me to be on a stage. I'm not going to lie about that, so bear with me because this is just weird looking down on people. I'm a teacher and I look out at people all day long, not down. But today I'm talking about our Lead Small book, and I'm talking about chapter 4, which is Make It Personal. And being a small group leader, being a worship leader, a host in production, whatever you may be, those are all really important roles here. But we cannot perform our roles if we're not taking care of ourselves and leading ourselves. And that's all this chapter was about. So I wanted to first share with you my experience where I have at one point in my life, I was in college, I was trying to pour into all these people, take care of people. Everyone always called me mom. I just wanted to love on people and make sure everyone else was taken care of, to the point where I was not taking care of myself, and I crashed so badly. Like, I was at such a low point in my life, and all I wanted to do was love on other people, but I didn't have any energy. I had nothing to give. And that was because I wasn't taking the time to make sure that I, myself, was taken care of. And if you're not taking care of yourself, we can't lead others. We can't take care of our middle schoolers as well as we can and should be. So that's the one question I want you to ask yourself today as you're sitting here. Are you taking care of yourself? Because if you're not, we're not going to be able to be the example, be that mentor, be the role model for our students. Our students are watching us, whether we know it or not. They're watching our social media. They're watching our interactions with each other as leaders. We want to make sure that we're being a good, godly example for our students in every aspect of our life, and that includes our quiet time, time outside of here, all of those things. So there are three main things that this chapter talked about that we should make sure we're taking care of ourselves in our personal life. The first one was live in community. It's important that you have a community around you of believers that are going to support you and pour into you. This time with our students, they're not able to pour into us like we should be getting poured into by other adults, by other high schoolers. People, they're so much younger than us. Yes, that's refilling, it's refreshing, we can learn from them, absolutely. But we're not able to get adequately poured into by them, as this is our only time in community every week. So make sure you have friends, a small group, have family, church community, whatever it may be, that you are getting poured into. Making sure you're going to service, being around other adult believers. That is so important. You should not let this be the only service you are attending every weekend. You need to be in Maine. Last part is join a small group. If you are not part of a small group yourself, I cannot tell you enough how empowering it is to have that community and to build those relationships with other believers. It actually really does change your life, and I can firsthand tell you that joining that small group, making that time really helps benefit you. The second one was setting priorities. So asking yourself, what do you value most? What are your priorities? Who are your priorities? The only way we can effectively be able to discuss authentic things with our students is if we are authentically living our life and saying what's most important and setting value on those things. So one of the most important things is our spiritual priorities. Are you having quiet time? Are you listening to the things God's telling you? Are you praying to God daily and talking with Him, having a conversation with Him? Are you talking to others and having a dialogue that's beneficial and uplifting and informative for you? And are you loving others? Are you honoring God through your worship, through your lifestyle, through your social media, through your conversation with others? Asking yourself all of those things and making sure they align. Making sure your relational priorities are in check. Are you being a good parent? Are you being a good spouse? Are you being a good child? Are you being a good sibling? Are you being a good friend? If you're not, how can you fix those? If our relationships are in check, we're able to set good examples for these students. And let's be real, most of these students probably don't have a healthy lifestyle with friends, maybe with family, with their siblings. So we need to be able to demonstrate to them what do those effective things look like. Maybe a healthy marriage, even a healthy boyfriend-girlfriend, fiance relationship, whatever that may be, because that might not be prevalent. And you want to set those and set them up for success for future relationships as well. And then the last point that was talked about, and I'm just going to preface this. Middle schoolers, they can smell fake from a mile away. Like, it's scary. You're like, oh, they're not going to, nope, I don't know how. Trust me, I deal with it all day long with 13-year-olds. I teach 8th grade. They can tell when you're being fake and when you're just trying to pretend. Be real. Be who you are. If you're not being who you are, you're not being a good example for them. They need to see what it looks like to be real. There's so much fake in the world around us. They don't need that. They need people around them that are showing this is what it looks like to be me, to be someone that loves God, to be someone who lives out my life for God. Be who you are. Find a way to relate to them. I get it. Sometimes it's hard. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about or what you're into. But find ways without compromising who you are to relate to these students. And it will go so much further than you avoiding who you actually are. So the last part, Matthew 22:39 says, love your neighbor as yourself. If you're not loving yourself, you can't love your neighbor. You can't love on our students. If you're not taking the time to pour into yourself, to lead yourself closer to God, to set your priorities, your relationships, everything that's important. If you're not filling up your cup, you really can't fill up these students' cup. So make sure you yourself are getting taken care of. If you need help with that, reach out to one of us. We'll help you. We want that. We want to make sure you are getting poured into so that you can go do the same to our students. So.